Guys, welcome back to my Take a Break series where we read and answer the questions in the Ask the Readers section. So this issue is issue 26, and it's from the 25th of June 2020. So there's one story in this issue which I'm not going to discuss just because I don't think I'm qualified enough to be able to discuss it, which is the main sort of story on here. But I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to discuss it. Don't think I'm qualified enough. But what I will say is take your child to a psychologist. Fork out the money for a decent child psychologist, or just a psychologist if she's a bit older. So that's what I have to say about that. And let's get on with the other questions. So I'm going to be answering two questions because I don't think I'm qualified enough to answer that one. So I'm going to answer these other two questions. So this one is titled, How Will We Cope with This Baby? And it goes like this. I'm 19 and have been with my boyfriend for 2 years. We're saving up for a place together and had planned to start a family in 4 or 5 years' time. However, I've just found out I'm pregnant. It was unexpected and we're both reeling from the shock. How will we cope? How will you cope? Well, obviously you need to think about finances. So obviously that's going to be one of the huge issues that you're probably going to face. So ask friends and family to help you, I guess. Obviously if you're in the UK, because this is a UK magazine, you'll probably get child benefits, so that's obviously going to help you. I don't know if you're referring to like financial though, or if you're referring to like emotional. So if you have other friends, if you have a good support system and some good friends and family, they should be able to help you cope and maybe even help you with the financial side. One of the things that I would suggest if you are worried about the financial side is that if you are to have a baby shower, perhaps ask people, instead of bringing presents for the baby, ask for money or something, or ask for things that will be really useful. So not just loads of toys or anything like that, even though a baby will probably need a few toys. But really, a baby doesn't really need that many toys when they're that small. But ask for things that are really, really practical, like ask them for newborn size nappies. Ask them for perhaps a cot, so you can afford to buy a cot, because cots can be quite expensive. So just ask your friends here and there, if you have a baby shower, to buy things for you that will be practical and useful. And when it comes to other stuff like emotional support, if you've got a close bunch of friends and family that can help you, just allow them to help you. It's not weakness to ask for help. And because you're so young, people aren't going to be too shocked if you feel a little bit out of your depth. So make sure that you do go and talk to people. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, perhaps even talk to your general practitioner as well about it and see what they have to say. And what I would say as well is just budget. Whatever it is, wherever you can cut costs and you can save money, do it. What I will say as well though is I congratulate you on the fact that not only are you having a lovely baby that's going to bring so much joy into your life, but the fact that you're actually concerned and worried about how you're going to bring up this baby, how you're going to cope with having a newborn baby. A lot of people get pregnant really early and they don't even think about these things. They just think, oh, I want to have a baby, and then they have a baby, and and they're not really thinking about how they're going to raise it or how they're going to afford it. But the fact that you are thinking about that and you are concerned about that just shows already how much of a great mother that you are going to be. Because if you were just brushing it off and be like, oh, I just want a baby so I can, look cute in Instagram or on TikTok or something, which some people do. But the fact that you actually really, really care or are worried about the fact that you don't know how you're going to cope with this baby tells me that you're going to cope just fine. So get your family and friends on board, start budgeting your money, ask for practical things for the baby, and yeah, I think you'll do well, so don't worry about it. Join some groups, perhaps join some online forums or something to help with, emotional support. Go to mums groups and all that kind of stuff, because I'm sure that you'll be able to find a close-knit friends who are going through the same things as you. So I hope that will help you with my limited knowledge. I'm not a mother, so I have no idea what you're probably going through, and you know, I'm 28 and I haven't had a baby, so it's like, you know, and even I would worry about how to cope and support a child, another human. So I can't say that I'm really even that qualified to talk about this one, but that's the advice that I have if it were me. So the next story is called, Is It Too Late to Say Sorry? Okay, serious. Is it too late to say sorry? Okay. I'm 34 and a mum of 2 teenage girls. When I was 15, I was part of a gang who bullied some other girls. The bullying was always verbal, not physical, but I realized it must have caused them so much pain. Is it too late to track them down and apologize? No, I don't think it is. I think it's also good for your mental health as well if you were to apologize for it, because I feel like there's some things that keep people awake at night, you know, and it's always like things that happened like 10 years ago, or when you was at school, or when you was at university or something. It's good to address those issues and come to some kind of closure. And it'll probably be really helpful for them as well, because perhaps, you know, they went through some kind of trauma from this bullying. So definitely reach out to them, perhaps even send them something like a sorry card or something. So start talking to them. Maybe you can even make a friendship with them, you know, and that kind of thing. So that would be really, really nice. So yeah, I don't think it's too late to say sorry at all. But what I will say is that even though I don't know how bad the bullying was, but what you need to keep in mind is that when you're young and impulsive, you haven't quite learned 100% how to act in the world. Don't be so hard on your 15-year-old self, because you were only a child, essentially, you know, and people mature at different ages. Like, there's people who I went to school with that were bullies, but yet there are other people that were in the same year group as me, and I knew for a fact that they would never even consider bullying. But the thing is with bullying is once you get started and you start bullying people, and if you're with your bully friends, like you said, you was in a gang, so if they were laughing at the things that you were doing and giving you that positive reinforcement, even though you were doing something bad, you probably didn't really know any better at that time. It's a difficult thing, because perhaps maybe you did know better, perhaps you knew you shouldn't have been doing those things. But if your friends were laughing and giving you that positive reinforcement, sometimes it is hard to see where the line is, you know, when you're crossing the line or when things are acceptable. So bullying is never acceptable. That's not what I meant by that comment, by the way. I just meant, like, when does teasing, you know, and banter become bullying, that kind of thing. Like, there's a line, you know, when things get too harsh. And when you're young, you see children, like even smaller children doing this, you know, they are always testing the boundaries to see how far they can go. So it could be, you often see it in when children are like play fighting, you know, they're play fighting and everything seems fun, and then one goes too far because they're testing the boundaries, you know, they're testing to see how far they can go. And, you know, if you're not snapped back, and if an adult or a child doesn't tell you, hey, stop doing that, that's too far, you're hitting me too hard, or something like that, then the child will just keep on doing it because they think it's fun. And when we're teenagers, we kind of still have that play system built into us. We're still testing the world a little bit around us to see how far we can go. Now, obviously, when you're older and you have a bit more hindsight about these things, and obviously it kind of haunts you a little bit, and you can see how wrong it really was. But you're an adult now, and obviously, like you said, you have 2 daughters, and you feel guilty about it because they're now the same age or whatever it is, you know. And I just think it's important to note that not to be too harsh on your teenage self, because obviously if you knew then what you know now, then you wouldn't have done it. Like, no one would do any harm to another person if they, everyone would change their past mistakes if they could, now that they're older and know better. You know, I know I've certainly made mistakes in my life. You know, I think everyone's sort of been in a certain, you know, area where they felt like they've been a bit nasty to someone else. You know, everyone feels that way when they get older. They're like, oh gosh, I wish I hadn't done that. Maybe I was too harsh on that person. Maybe I shouldn't have been saying that stuff behind that person's back. But you've matured, you're 30, you're 34, you know now, and hopefully now, because you've had that experience, of course you can go back and say to the girls that you bullied that you're sorry, and perhaps gain a friendship with them, perhaps send them a sorry note, like I said, And now you can even, now you've got that knowledge, you can tell your children how, your daughters, how horrible it was to, how horrible the guilt is now. Because, you know, they're probably taking actions right now that they may regret in the future. But because you have that knowledge, you can now say to them, you know, your experience, and hopefully they won't do it, you know. But being a teenager is a weird time, because you're trying to fit in, you're trying to do what you believe to be best in the moment. And, you know, it's a tough situation. But no, I don't think it's too late to say sorry to those people. Anyway, guys, that was me answering Readers to the Rescue in this Take a Break magazine. I hope to talk to you again very soon. If you've been enjoying these videos and if you like this series, let me know by leaving a comment below and by leaving a like on this video as well. That way I'll know to make more. And I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye, guys.